Sanje Judo Sogi Chunamla Chanchu Paku Dani Gyapsu Shi Dagi Jin Sogi Me Sonam Kola Benjir Sanje Drubara Shu Sanje Judo Sogi Chunamla Chanchu Paku Dani Gyapsu Shi Dagi Jin Sogi Me Sonam Kola Benjir Sanje Drubara Shu Sanje Juda Sogi Chona Chanju Badu Dani Gyapsu Shi Dagi Jin Sogi Be Sonam Kola Benjir Sanje Drubara Shu. I go for refuge and tell them in Latin to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and tell them in Latin to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge and tell them in Latin to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, by my accumulations of practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Niroda Ekam Vadi Mahashramana Yesvaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Niroda Ekam Vadi Mahashramana Yesvaha Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Niroda Evam Vadi Mahashramana Yesvaha. Now page 203. Dependent origination and emptiness, verses for meditation, compilation of excerpts from sutras and treatises. Okay, we'll read this together. As we read this, this says again a reminder. Even after the retreat, it would be good if we can recite these few pages. This is primarily for invoking the sharpness, intelligence, the wisdom of emptiness, and many of the stanzas His Holiness the Dalai uses during his teachings, and he also advised us to memorize these stanzas by heart, and particularly those we included. We use them as a part of the meditation, the sample of the meditation manual on emptiness. So these we must memorize by heart, and once in a month or once in 2 weeks' time, if not once in a week, we try to recite these verses. They will be so good to activate your intelligence and eventually to realize emptiness. Let us all read these together. Given by the precious Child Sutra, Manjushri, whoever listens even with doubt to this teaching on emptiness, generates much greater merit than a Bodhisattva who, lacking skill in means, practices his profession for 100,000 eons. This being so, what need is there to say anything about a person who listens to this without doubt? What need is there to say anything about a person who imparts the scripture in writing, memorizes it, and also teaches thoroughly and extensively to others? The treasure of the One Thus Gone Sutra. Any person who possesses all these 10 great known virtues enters into the teaching of selflessness and his faith and conviction that all phenomena are from the beginning pure of true existence, does not go to a bad rebirth. Sections of Geshe Damdul Sutra.
If any bhikshu realizes that all phenomena are absolutely pacified of inherent existence, and the feeling of defilements is devoid of its sub-nature, it will remove the guilt of having defilements, make unstable the defilements, thus deeming even the immeasurable negativity is dysfunctional, let alone the secondary wrongs done associated with ethics and rituals. Arideva's founded verses on the middle way. Those with less merit will not even have an inquiry into this dharma of ultimate reality. Should an inquiry ever arise in someone, will share samsara into pieces. Acharya Chandrakritis entered the middle way. Even as an ordinary being, when hearing about emptiness, if one experiences within utter joy again and again, tears flowing from such pure joy, motion in one's eyes, and one's hair stands on end, one at the end sees the wisdom of full awakening. Upalita Kwesa Sutra. Various delightful flowers blossom, and the sparkling supreme golden apples stand so alluring. For none of these is there a creator, they are posited by the power of thought. It is true conceptualization that the world is inferior. Bhikkhuni Vachira's utterance in the Fundamental Vehicle Sutra. A mind is demonic which views a true self. We have our own view. These competent aggregates are empty. There is no being in them. Just as one designates a card in dependence upon a collection of parts, so we assert a conventional sentient being and dependent upon the aggregates. Venerable Shavara's writings. Searching for reality throughout space, one finds not the periphery nor the center. All perception ceases completely. Likewise, through a total search of mind phenomena, one finds not even an atom of essence, since the searching mind is not found, nor seeing anything seeing reality. Saint Sarah's writings. By entering into emptiness but devoid of compassion, will not find the supreme power. But meditate upon compassion alone, will not attain liberation but remain in samsara. The one capable of grasping the unity of the two will not remain in samsara, nor abide in personal nirvana. King of Concentration Sutra. Just as in a dream of a young girl, an anguish at his death, view full on all phenomena as thus, are in the Arjuna's fundamental wisdom of the middle way. Ceasing actions and afflictions leads to nirvana. Action and afflictions arise from conceptual thought. This arises from mental elaboration. Elaboration ceases through emptiness. Neither the aggregate is no different from the aggregates. Aggregates don't depend on him, nor is he depend on him. That which dependent originates is posited to be empty of independent existence. That being dependent is designated, this is the middle way. Since there is no phenomenon that is not dependent originated, therefore there is no phenomenon that is not empty. Aranyagarjuna's precious garland. If the person is not earth, not water, not fire, not air, not space, not also consciousness, but not all of them, where is the person out of those? Just the person is not truly existent, because being an aggregation of the six elements, each element also is not truly existent as aggregations of their own constituents. Aranyagarjuna's commentary on Bodhicitta. Those who understand this emptiness of all phenomena, it also conform to the law of karma and its results. That is more amazing than amazing, that is more wondrous than wondrous. Arideva's founded verses on the middle way. When dependent arising is seen, ignorance does not occur. Thus, through all efforts, trying to find this subject. His Holiness the Seventh Dalai Lama's Guide to the Way of the Middle Way, a song of the four mindfulnesses. The sphere of appearing and existing phenomena is pervaded by the space of the ultimate clear-light of suchness. As an ineffable ultimate reality, view this nature of emptiness through abandoning mental contrivances. Don't let the mind go astray, but place it in the ambience of reality. Through not losing mindfulness, at the crossroad of the six collections of consciousness that have diverse perceptions are seen the hazy dualistic phenomena which are wasted. As the measure will show that is by nature deceptive, don't believe them to be true, but view them as having the nature of emptiness. Don't let the mind go astray, but place in the nature of appearance and emptiness. Through not losing mindfulness, hold in the nature of appearance and emptiness. His Holiness 14th Dalai Lama's prayer for proliferating the Dhamma of the land of snows. Venerable Marpa Lozawa, Shebi Dorji, and so on. The host of the precious Kagyu, the source of blessings, a chain of unexcelled masters of this outstanding tradition. To you all I pray, may the Buddha Dhamma of the land of snows blaze forevermore. All phenomena encompassing samsara and nirvana are but the radiance of spontaneous awareness. Awareness itself, devoid of elaborations, is realized in the nature of Dhammakaya. But reading all existence in the appearance of samsara and nirvana is a great Mahamudra. May the Buddha Dhamma of the land of snows blaze forevermore. In praise of Dharmadhatu, impermanent, suffering, and empty, each way they purify the mind. The Dharma that is honest, surpassed, and purified of mind is that of intrinsic nature. Concluding prayer in Lama Tsongkhapa's commentary on Ara Nagarjuna's fundamental wisdom of middle way. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always seek about Ara Manjushri and be able to uphold Dharma in general and the teachings on dependent knowledge in particular, even across my life. Okay, with folded hands. Shiri Heruga, Shiri Heruga, Shiri Heruga. Here is the surfaces of phenomena, the emptiness of the mind which is the source of everything, as the impurity to be of causal nature. Ru is the surfaces of person, the emptiness of the self that is fabricated of web conceptual thought that grasps by the self of person. Ka is the ultimate reality, the absence of the dissonant duality of subject and object. Shiri is the non-dual exalted wisdom that abides in congruence with the emptiness of the object. This is the meaning of Evam. Okay, continuation from this morning, the rebirth pertaining to the 7 steps, 7-fold causative method to generate bodhicitta, and the first step, which is remember all beings as one's mothers. So there, what we talk about is the difference between the brain and the mind. What is brain? What is mind? Okay, now on the one reason which Acharya Dharmakirti used in his Pramana Vartika is primarily pertaining to the mental consciousness. This mental consciousness that we have. Okay, when we meditate, our eyes are open. Yet, we train in such a way that our mental consciousness can be focused on the intended object, while the eye consciousness is ignored. This is what we train, which means that from this training, we should get a very strong conviction that there is a mental consciousness. For example, I'm happy, I'm not happy, which the neuroscientists cannot see. I'm happy. At most, they can see that the hormones, like the endorphin, oxytocin, then the serotonin and dopamine, they flow. At the most, they see this, but this is not happiness. They say even when you're not happy, these hormones are there. These hormones are there, but you are not happy. So when the hormones they flow, then you experience that in the form of happiness. That is the mental experience. This mental experience was totally missing when the hormone was there but not flowing. Okay, so from this we see that there is this mental function, but then this mental function, this is not like split. It is just one at a time. I say the mental brain, wherever it is operating, that's fine. But the mental consciousness flows one, which you are aware of, and the neuroscientist is not aware of. And they're not aware of the flow of your mental consciousness. So the mental consciousness, this is something which in the first place, this morning what we discussed was that this mental consciousness, I'm happy, I'm not happy, that phenomenon, that is so important. That decides the whole world, how the world operates, that is decided by this feeling that I'm happy, not happy, now our nation should be protected, then we as the world, we should take care of to make sure that the global warming is not happening, then the carbon emission, carbon emission, carbon emission, the conference, all these conferences were held to make sure that carbon emission is stopped or minimized. Okay, this is all related to I, me, my, that we are going to suffer, okay. So that mind, that is the mental consciousness. That mental consciousness, Acharya Dharmakirti is convincing in this book that finally this mental consciousness, when the damage happens to your brain, then you say the sensory consciousness can be affected. Sensory consciousness can be affected, but the mental consciousness is not affected. And of course, the sensory consciousness When the sensory consciousness is affected, then information, you are not getting the information. Your mental consciousness is not getting the information. When the sensory consciousness is affected, when the brain is damaged, then the sensory consciousness is affected. The eyes, so all these concepts. When they're affected, then they cannot give you the information. They cannot provide the information to the mental consciousness. So the mental consciousness is there, but it's lacking the information. Okay. So this mental consciousness, this Acharya Dharmakirti says, says that somehow, he says that this is the main thing. This is the one which travels to the next life. And then we have the body, and we have this mental consciousness too. This body that we have, this body came from where? This body has no beginning. This body has beginning or no beginning? Huh? What is we? Yes. There is beginning. But when is the beginning? Conception in the mother's womb. This body is made of atoms. This body is made of cells. Yes? Cells are made of atoms. These atoms came from where? They are like, I think, 4 trillion cells in a body. 4 trillion cells come from parents. No, your parents' tummy is very small. Right? You cannot have this big, huge body, the 3 trillion, 4 trillion cells. This came from where? These atoms came from where?
From itself? I mean, did it replicate itself?
The atoms came from where? Okay. No, the cells replicate. Atoms don't replicate. Please don't say this. Cells replicate, you're right. Cells replicate, but the atoms don't replicate. Atoms come from where? Yes, here. From the environment. From the environment, it came from where? No. What I'm saying, the atoms came from the environment. The atoms that we have in the body came from the food that we eat. Food that we eat, that came from the environment. Atoms in the environment came from where? Hey, where? I will say we. Where's we now? Sophie, where's we? Huh? No, it came from where? Huh? Huh? The cosmos came from where? Big Bang. Okay. So in other words, what we can say is that if Big Bang is the origin of the universe, if it is the origin of the universe, if still it is debate, still it is debatable. The scientists, they diverge in the views. Some they speak about the single Big Bang, others speak about the multiple Big Bangs. Okay, this is debatable. Okay, whatever is the case, what I'm saying is that this body came from your parents, but the body cell, the body atoms, they came from the Big Bang. They don't, you're getting it? They came from the Big Bang. Body may have a beginning, but the same. Big Bang is questionable. Same. From what we understand of the multiple Big Bang, which means there is no beginning time. So the body atoms, this body, the human body came from the parents, but this body atoms came from the Big Bang and then beginningless time. In other words, according to physics, atoms, they never annihilate. Matter does not annihilate. At the most, matter can change to energy. Matter can change into energy, energy can change back into matter. That's it. They never annihilate. So which means the body-wise, there is no beginning, the body meaning the atoms. There's no beginning, there's no end. Even my body, when I die, my body, cremated, and the ash will be left. And the ash will be somehow, go into some plants, and then the plants will absorb that in the form of nutrients. For example, apple tree may absorb that in the form of nutrients. So my body becomes the apple tree. My body becomes the apple. And some part of it will become the apple. And again somebody will eat. Again that will become the body of that person. So my body is the male body. A girl may eat the apple. It will become the girl body. And again the girl will die. And again will be absorbed in the form of nutrients by another plant. So this is how it operates. But the atoms, never annihilate. As a matter of the atoms, the atomic matters, they never annihilate. This is a law of the nature. Likewise, the mind, mental consciousness, which we're going to study a little bit more with the points, we'll come to realize that even they never annihilate. There's no reason why they should annihilate. Just as atoms, they never annihilate, even the mind does not annihilate. Okay, with this, what I like to share, I like to give some of the points. One is the neuroplasticity, which we discussed this morning. The neuroplasticity, meaning that earlier in the classical neuroscience, there's the belief that it is only the brain that affects the mind. It is only one-way traffic, which means only brain affects the mind. That's it. Mind has nothing to do with affecting the brain. So from that point of view, when the brain dies, mind disappears. Now, what is discovered is not only the brain affects the mind also affects the brain. And this, people can still debate. But the point is that with the training of mind, purely trained of mind, your tension, depression, so forth can be removed. You can change the brain structure inside. Simply training the mind can change the brain structure, like the synaptic connections. Synaptic connections responsible for the depression. When the depression is deeper, then the synaptic connections are very hardwired. The connections are formed. With the training of the mind, then these synaptic connections can be loosened. And the connection for the positive thoughts can be enriched. So this is what is seen nowadays. Thinking can affect the brain. This is what is seen. Not only the brain affecting the thinking. This is one thing. From this we see that if the thinking affects the brain, then the point is that there's a thought process which precedes the brain function. What precedes the brain function? That is the mind. There's mind, which is precede, meaning is a causal factor. Causal factor meaning causal factor and the result, brain activity. These two are different entities in two different times. Two different times means two different entities. Okay. And also another interesting thing is that when one part of the brain is damaged, some part of the brain is damaged, other parts of the brain will take the responsibility of the function of the damaged brain. This is again what is noticed. If one part of the brain is damaged, for example, the brain for the language, if that is damaged, not in all cases, some cases are same, right? In some cases where the brain part for language, when that is damaged, language disappears. It's not always the case. In some cases, when one part, the part from the language is damaged, then the other part of the brain will take over the responsibility of the language instantly, and then you will not lose the language. You getting it? This is again the neuroscience. Now from this, what you can see is that the language skill is a mental function. Bonjour, good evening, tashidale. This is just one skill. The same skill with the two different. Now you know about the entities, isolates. Two different isolates. One part of the brain and the other part of the brain. These two are two different entities. So one entity. Hey, your brain, the damaged brain, non-damaged brain. These two are entity-wise. One are different. Hey. What do you say? Damaged brain, non-damaged brain. These two entities one are different. Huh? What's the damaged brain? This one. What is the undamaged brain? This one. You have to point to two different objects. Huh? Entity one are different. Okay, you have to know a story. There's one story known as story of Ram. You have to know the story. It's not really a story, it's a small anecdote. Anecdote? So children, an elderly person was telling a story about the Hindu mythology, hovering over the godlike figure, a prince by the name Ram, and he was sharing the story to these youngsters. And when the story finishes, then the person said, the storyteller tells, "Okay, do you enjoy it?" Then everybody said, "Yes, we enjoyed very much." And one boy raised his hand and said, "Who's Ram?" Did you get it? Stories about Ram. Stories about Ram. What did he do? Where he was born, his family. All these things happened for 1 hour. After the story, then the boy said, "Who's Ram?" Do you understand what I'm saying? After 10 days program, what is entities? Right? Brain, damaged brain, and the non-damaged brain. This entity was one different. And it was one. Square one. Back to square one. Of course, this entity was different. Okay, let's say the stick, the black part and non-black part. These two entities was one or different.
Different.
Huh? Black part and the non-black part, entity was one or different. Huh? And this one. Okay.
Which one?
The flowery, yellow part and the green part. Entity was one or different. Entity was different. Where's the green part? Here. Where's the yellow part? Here. I have to point to two different objects. You getting it? Okay, this wall, the wall on my right side, wall on my left side, these two entities was one or different. We have to point to two different objects. Therefore, these two entities was different. Likewise, the table, okay, the top plank of the table, okay, my right hand and my left hand, these two entities was one different. Huh? Entity was different, very good. Okay, likewise, the brain, damaged brain and non-damaged brain, these two entities was one or different? Different, very good. Okay, now, mind, mental consciousness, for example, the language, it's the same, your skill is the same, but this language skill was picked up by two different parts of the brain. You getting it? If the mind and brain, these two are same, then the damaged part of the brain, the language skill which this brain picked up earlier, and now the another part of the brain which is picking up the responsibility of this language. So these two skills should be different, but these two are not different. It's the same skill, which means that it is like, for example, okay, if I give this example, you will understand very easily. Let's say that there is one sick person. We have to take the person to the hospital, and it's so remote place that there's no cars, there's no motorway, and say the person A carries the sick person to a certain point, and then the person A feels tired, then person B carries it. You're getting it? Okay, what has been carried was the patient. Patient was the same, but who carries two different persons? Likewise, two different parts of the brain. First part of the brain, when it becomes damaged, then second part picked up the responsibility. Which responsibility? Language skill. Language is a mental function. You're getting it? So the mental function is picked up by the two different parts of the brain. So with this, one example which would be very helpful is like the relationship between the brain and the mind. The relationship between the brain and the mind is like, say, the same. Is somebody who is then callist, what is that? Or the contortionist, meaning somebody who has the body skill to very flexible body. Contortionist this person has a tremendous body skill. And if you put this person in a spacesuit, bulky spacesuit, then the person cannot perform the skill that person has. Person can hardly move, right? So the person inside the bulky spacesuit is like the mind, and the bulky spacesuit is like the brain. When the brain is damaged, then although your mind may be very bright, your mind cannot perform it. Although you have a tremendous skill inside your body, you have a tremendous skill to the flexibility of your body, but because of the very bulky spacesuit, you cannot perform it. Okay, this relation between the body and the mind, right? So, depending on in some cases, so this is a very helpful example. And then on that basis, then the remaining point, which I'm going to discuss with you, can be understood. Yes, Howard?
If you say that the brain, where the I think it's Boca's area, isn't it? Well, anyway, where the language area is damaged, is a different entity to the brain where it's not damaged. Then surely, with that argument, then the brain, you would have thought, would be a different entity. At every instant, the entity will change because the brain's continually changing. We can continue being rewired. It's continually, the plasticity is changing. So, in that sense, the entity will be continually changing.
No. Entity. So for this, we have to understand what is entities. Entity was one different. That you have to have a thorough understanding. With cause and effect, entity is always different. Damaged brain is the first part. Non-damaged brain, which we are talking about, which rewires, that is what follows the damaged brain. You getting it? Damaged brain picks up it had the language when it is not damaged.
I understand.
Listen. When it's not damaged, brain part A, which was not damaged, and brain part B, which picks up the language later on meaning subsequent.
Yes.
And what precedes that mind, what precedes that brain is the damaged part of the brain. You getting it? Damaged part of the brain. For example, let's say today is damaged, and yesterday it was intact. Accident happened last night. You getting it? Accident happened last night. The brain was not damaged yesterday. So yesterday's the brain part A, and then the night, the transition time, the night, there was the accident, and the brain part A got damaged. Now, so brain part B yesterday, brain part B today. Brain part B today and brain part A yesterday, these two are cause effect. Cause effect.
Yes.
What is cause effect should always be entity-wise different. First of all, you have to understand the concept of entities. Entity-wise different. Cause effect always, these two are entity-wise different. Don't mix up two.
But what I'm saying is that since you said that the mind can continually affect the structure of the brain, because it's like plasticity, the way that we, through meditation, through constant reapplying a concept or whatever, or changing. So we're in that sense, we're constantly changing the structure of the brain.
No, that is changing.
Yes.
That is changing.
So why isn't the entity changing?
No, what I'm saying is that this part, brain part B, does not take the responsibility of the language. You're getting it? When brain part A was intact, brain part B was not taking the responsibility of the language.
Yes. But
Listen. It's not taking the responsibility of the language. Now, brain part A, these two are entity-wise different. Entity-wise different, and these two are not of the same continuum. It's a very different continuum. Whereas with the mental language, it's a continuum. Mentally you could feel the continuum. It's a continuum with the language skill. It's a mental function. Continuum is there. So from this, what I'm saying, okay, first what we have to say is that brain part A yesterday was actively with language. Brain part B yesterday was had nothing to do with language. You agree with me?
yes.
Okay. Now, the transition, the night, the midnight, somebody had the accident and the brain part A was damaged.
No, I understand.
Listen. Brain part A was damaged. Then today, brain part A is not working. Now brain part B of today has taken the responsibility of the language. You getting it?
Mm-hmm.
Has taken the responsibility of language. Now this says, okay, rewiring. Okay, let's say rewiring happened because it has to now take care of not only of the color, also to take care of the language. You getting it? Two works are being done by the same part of the brain.
So let me give you an example.
Changes happen, yes. Changes happen.
So let me give you an example. I have a brain A, which is my state, say, last year, where I had absolutely no ability to, no mathematical ability whatsoever, for instance. So the part of my brain that was, that is, let's say, consigned to mathematical ability simply was not developed whatsoever.
Yes.
I then worked on that throughout the year, and that part of my brain actually changed through the work that I did.
That's true.
The structurally changed. And now I have that part of my brain that is developed for mathematical ability.
Yes.
Are they not two different entities?
Of course, these two are two different entities.
Yes. So what I'm
Two
saying,
different entities, but they are continuum.
exactly. So
These two continuum.
entities are continually changing.
Look. Damaged brain is still there. Brain A, brain B, both are simultaneous. Two simultaneous things cannot be continuum in time. You're getting it? But what you are talking about is a brain which was not operating in mathematics last year. Through training for a whole 1 year, going for coaching and so forth, slowly it becomes more activated, then you become good in mathematics.
Yes.
So then, that brain, when you did not have the skill in mathematics, now you're having the skill in mathematics, these two brains are not simultaneously there. You're getting it? There are no two brains. It's just the same brain which changed. Same brain changed. Whereas these two parts, these two are not the same brain. It's two different brains. Two different parts of the brain.
And because of the accident, it changed as well. So
No. Change is there. No, it doesn't matter. Change is there. I'll tell you one thing. For example, let's say, what did I have for this lunch? What did I have for this lunch? What did I eat?
you want to add some spaghetti.
No. Don't just guess. What did I eat? I ask you.
Some tasty food.
Huh?
Tasty food.
No. Don't make fun. Just say, I don't know, to save the time. I don't know. You're getting it? Your brain and my brain, these two are two different continuum. Because of which, what I ate, you don't remember. Although the two brains are simultaneously in this hall. But listen. But what the function, my brain function, mental function associated with my brain, you cannot remember. Because these two brains are two different continuums. Two different entities, simultaneous, two different continuums. You're getting it?
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore, the point is that these two parts of brain A and brain B within the same person, two different entities simultaneously. Not the same brain developing, not like this. Two entities, one damaged, other picked up. It is like, for example, you ate half the food, you're not seeing me, and accidentally I ate half the food, but you cannot remember what I ate. But these two brains, they remember each other. They remember the language. They have not forgotten the language. The language which the brain part A knows is exactly what the brain part B knows. These two are two different entities, simultaneous. So there's, listen. So unless until we understand what I'm saying, no point. So they say the same skill, the memory is there, the memory of the language skill is there, which is picked up by this. So what is that? What is this language, this skill or the language memory picked up by? Because this brain B does not have any experience of the language before. So, but what you were speaking earlier is exactly what you can speak now. You can remember every word so well. You're getting it? So from this what you can see is that there's a mind which is continuous flow. Only things it operates with the help of the brain. When the brain part A, it gets damaged, brain part B picks up and the mind can still operate. So for the language is not lost, memory is not lost. Memory of the language is not lost. Otherwise, what I ate you don't remember. Although my brain and your brain coexist, the two brains coexist. If simply because the brain A, it can be remembered by brain B, then your brain should remember what I ate. You cannot remember.
I wasn't talking about two different brains. I was talking about one brain that adapts. For instance.
No, these two are not one brain. Keep in mind, left hemisphere, right hemisphere, these two are very different.
They're connected.
They're connected, they're not one. My two hands are not one. My two hands are connected, they're not one. My right hand is more competent than my left hand. These two are not one. Okay, so yes, Virginia.
Ma mère a eu le quart de son cerveau détruit par l'hémorragie et effectivement le cerveau a repris toutes les fonctions en charge et un an après elle a pu retourner au travail. Mais il y avait une cohérence entre elle avant l'accident et elle après l'accident. Son jeu, la manière dont elle se percevait et agissait était la même. J'ai lu l'histoire d'une personne qui a reçu un tuyau dans le cerveau qui a traversé. Et il n'était plus du tout le même après, son comportement était complètement différent. Comment c'est possible que le cerveau ait cette influence donc, sur la personne?
So there are two cases. Virginie's mother had some hemorrhage in the brain, so a quarter of the brain had been damaged. But after, the rest of the brain could complete the function that was lost by the first part. And then she could still remember who she was and act not so much differently as before. But Virginie heard about someone who received a pipe in the skull, in the brain. And then after that accident, he acted very differently, like it would be two different persons. So she wonders how it can be possible in one case and not in another case.
Okay, so there's this way we have to know the complete picture. So as I said earlier, in some cases the language part of the brain is damaged, you lose the language. In some cases, language part is damaged, another part of the brain will take over the responsibility. It's very strange how the brain works. Same, in one case, the Virginia's mother lost part of the brain and still the person behaves as very normal. Another person, some pipe, affects the brain or it pierces through the brain and then the person behaves as a very different personality. This is how the brain works. How the brain works? So, to be very honest, I have my own views, but I don't want to speculate too much. I want to be more related to what is conventionally accepted. It can involve many speculations. One is that, say, it's very strange. For example, a body, if there is a cut, that blood comes out. Blood comes out. And if the blood doesn't clot, then we can die because we will lose blood. And there's a blood clot happening. And then say if the chemical which is responsible for the blood clot, if that is missing, again the body somehow operates something, and then in some cases clot happens. In some cases it doesn't happen and we die. How the body reacts is very different. Again the healing takes place by itself in some cases. In some cases it doesn't happen. How the body behaves. So why the body is behaving like this, I have my own speculation. This cannot be scientifically explained fully. So this only the karmic effect. There's energy related to the karma that you have done from the past life, mentally related. That is one which is acting on this, which is not visible. And this very complicated issue. So this is what I've been doing research a lot. Not only research, thinking about a lot. as to listen to the neuroscientists, what they are saying. And from there, I could say that both the possibilities happening, opposite possibilities are happening. Okay. This we have to think more. So for this, first, what is so important, if you are really interested in this area, you have to think of both sides. Think of both sides, and particularly, say what the neuroscientists are saying. This is not that difficult, because this is something which is easily, visibly seen. What the neuroscientist is saying is visibly seen. Now, whereas about the mind is not visibly seen. So for this, your mind must be very sharp. You must train your mind. And it doesn't mean that, okay, unluckily, I'm not so sharp. No. If you keep doing this kind of analysis and thinking, your mind will develop to that extent. You can think in a nuanced way. The idea is, don't just be a good listener, listen more and see what is being explained in a nuanced way. This we have to listen, we have to understand. Once you understand it, it's very beautiful analysis and thinking. This is very beautiful thinking. One. Then number two thing that I'd like to share with you here is, recently in Israel, there was a conference on consciousness. Not too recently. For me, it's like recently, it's my one tour. It was like almost like 2 months ago. The conference was organized by a neuroscientist, quite a popular neuroscientist in Israel and in Europe. And along with him, there's another two very senior neuroscientists were there, and one physicist, a senior physicist was also there, and several young neuroscientists were there, and psychologists also there. Then they were discussing on not really discussing. So I was also there as a part of the conference. And on the second day, before my presentation, they were discussing, somehow the discussion went into free will. Topic, slide down into free will. And the neuroscientists, they were trying to explain free will. They cannot. Because the neuroscientists, keep this in mind. Neuroscientists, their approach has a limitation. Not only neuroscientists, physics, the modern science today, so far, I would say that Albert Einstein's the relativity theory, this is quite comprehensive. Otherwise, quantum physics, it has some limitation there, shortcomings, I should say. Of course, what they've discovered is amazing. Neuroscientists, they cannot explain the free will concept. Because neuroscientists, their approach is reductionism. Neuroscientists, their approach is reductionism. Because of reductionism, the free will, let's say the intention. What makes us to move? Intention. What is this intention in the brain? Then they try to locate the intention in the brain. So this intention is a free will. Free will is the mental function. So they try to, it's a mental function, but it's a brain. You can locate that in the brain. So they try to locate it. They cannot locate it. Because it functions in a very ambiguous way, the intention. Intention, with the brain, it is mechanical. Brain is mechanical. Brain, you should be able to predict, may not be 100%, at least like 80% you should be able to predict, because it's too mechanical. If you see, for example, what is going to be tomorrow's weather, what's going to be tomorrow's temperature, we can predict today. We can predict in some cases like 1 week ago, 1 week ahead in time, you can predict. It's because it's mechanical. What is mechanical can be more easily predictable. So, whereas the free will is as opposed to predictability, it cannot be predicted. Because it cannot be predicted, it is known as free will. If it is predicted, if it can be predictable, it is not free will, it is predeterminism. So this debate between predeterminism and the free will, this is a huge problem which cannot be resolved by neuroscientists. Whereas, undeniably, we experience free will. Undeniably we experience free will. through pure neuroscience, we cannot explain free will. Neuroscience, reductionist approach, is pure mechanical. The neurons, physical matters. Physical matters is fixed. You should be able to know. If not 100%, like 90%, what the brain is going to be like the next moment. You should be able to predict that. But in the free will, by the very definition, is something which you cannot predict. It's in your hand. No second person can predict for you. So this is a huge debate. And this debate, at the end, nobody could resolve this. Neuroscientists could not resolve. Psychology cannot resolve. And physicists also came in, we could not resolve. So I said that this problem cannot be resolved unless and until you understand Nagarjuna's concept of two truths. And then next was my presentation. Then I explained a little bit about Nagarjuna's two truths, how to resolve this conflict, the problem. Because they go into reductionism. Reductionism meaning macro world, they're trying to explain this on the basis of the micro world. Macro world, how the mind is working in the interconnected form, they're trying to explain it on the basis of neurons, which is so micro. Macro, trying to explain the macro, this is the greatest of the shortcomings of the physics. Many of the scientists, they say that Albert Einstein wasted half of his life because he was looking for a grand unified field theory. He was looking for a grand unified field theory. What grand unified field theory? To merge the two theories. Albert Einstein. Grand unified field theory. All the physics theories into one theory. In other words, quantum physics and relativity theory trying to merge all the five forces into one theory. In one theory, some are macro, some are micro. Gravitation is macro. Gravitation macro, and then the what forces? What are the five forces? Anybody? Gravitation, electrical, magnetism, weak force, strong force, right? Okay, the weak force, strong force, the weak force. They are very extremely the minute forces, and gravitation is huge, massive force. He's trying to just combine all these in one theory. One is macro, one is micro. So the Buddha, when the Buddha taught, form is empty. Form is the macro. Emptiness is the micro. So form can be understood only by the conventional analysis, not by ultimate analysis. And emptiness understood only by the ultimate analysis, not by conventional analysis. These should not be mixed. These two analyses should not be mixed. If you mix the two things, then you will end up in chaos. Likewise, the macro world. What analysis of the macro world today? Physics, relativity theory is explaining the macro world. And the micro world, quantum physics is explaining the micro world. And these two physics, they're explaining two different dimensions of the same world, same universe. One micro, one macro. And Albert Einstein was trying to merge the two. And which many of the scientists say that he wasted more than half of his life trying to look for a grand unified field theory. Okay. Okay, now another point that I will share with you is that a body, the first moment, let's say, the first moment of conception in mother's womb, how big are we? First conception in the mother's womb, how big are we? One cell, just one cell. Then the cells, they are replicated. Just one cell. And where all these extra cells came from? So later, you ate more food, mother's milk, ate food. And then even these cells, they have their own longevities. Even these cells, they have their own longevity. Except for some brain cells, most of the cells, they die in within 20 years, they die. And how many are younger than 20 years? Tell me. How many of you are younger than 20 years? No, which means that your body, almost like 99% of your body is new. Your cells already changed, except for some brain cells. Some brain cells, they remain lifelong. Otherwise our body cells, within 20 years, they are all changed. Okay, are you a new person? Or are you the same person? You remember your past life? You not past life. You remember your young age? Yes, you remember you are the same person. Yes, I'm the same person. Yes. Right? Please don't be unkind to me when I was 20 years, when I was 5 years old, 10 years old. Right? Please don't be unkind to me when I become 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 50, 70 years. Right? So, this I, this self, which is so important, this self, is so important, meaning, because of this self, we look for a house. We need a house. We need a car. We need work to do. Right? Just for this to sustain this. This self is very important. This self did not change. Did not change meaning. Did not change meaning that, of course, the transitory changes there, but I, totally new person, did not come. But the body, except for some part of the brain cells, 99% of the body cells, they are all completely new. Which means that you should be a new person. You should have no clue of what you were 10 years ago, when you were 20 years ago, when you were 30 years ago. You should have no clue. For example, like what I ate, you don't remember. Because the person who ate the lunch, okay, Jane knows what I ate.
I know what I bring to you.
Wow. This is Jane's architectural brain used. I brought the food design like this, but I don't know what you ate. Okay, so which means that I ate, but you don't remember. You don't remember. Because your body, my body, your brain, my brain, these are very different brains. It is no continuum. Likewise, let's say for example, my hand, yesterday's hand and today's hand, there's a continuum. Of course, today's hand is 1 year older than yesterday's hand. But there's a continuum. But the cells of this hand, except for the nervous system, some part of the nerves, I'm not too sure. Otherwise, 99% of this hand was totally missing 20 years ago. This hand is totally new. Totally new. Likewise, the whole body is very new. So just as your mind, the mind related to your body is very different from my body, do not have the capacity to remember what I ate. Likewise, I should not be able to remember what I did in the past. But remember that there's this I, which is so important. Okay, this is extremely important point from which we can see that the sense of I, the mind, it remains the same. The continuum is there. But the body, the continuum is not there. The body cells, they are replaced. New cells come into being. Okay. Okay, so I don't want to go into too detail. We have another half an hour. Okay. And we have 6 steps more. This is the first step, right? Of the 7 steps. Okay. I'd like to share with you 2 more points. Anyway, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to write a book on the brain and the mind. Brain and the mind. The relationship in the brain and the mind. What the neuroscientists are talking about. And to be very honest, I just wish that the neuroscientist is at least like 100 years more developed than what is today. It is still not so developed. I wish that neuroscience is 100 years more developed than what is today. Because even if I were to write a book on this, after like 50 years, 100 years, what he mentioned of neuroscience is so crude. People will say that. It's not my mistake. Because neuroscience at my time is not developed to that extent. Okay. So this is what I'm trying to write on. Okay, one point that I'd like to share with you is that, let's say, The difference between people, nowadays people talk about the AI. AI, what is AI? Artificial intelligence. People talk about some people scared of this. My personal view, there's nothing to be scared, but it's quite dangerous. Quite dangerous. Why dangerous? Because today the world is governed. Okay, let's say today the world is governed by the people. People meaning, say the various, most of the countries, they decide their leaders by election, except for some from some kingdoms and some dictators. Otherwise, most of the countries in the world, they operate by, say, the democratic election, which means that the public decides the leaders, and the leaders decide the world, and the public, they're very intelligent or not intelligent? Not so intelligent. Because they are not so intelligent, very good leaders cannot come. Very good leaders will not get the chance to lead the world. Somebody who can speak, and somebody who can just move the minds of the average people, they can become the leaders. The really good people, they cannot come up. Really good people, they want to speak substance. And ordinary people, will not understand substance. Those who do not have substance, they have the flowery words, they will come. Generally speaking, they become the leaders. Usually they don't. Generally speaking, this is how the world operates. I personally would say that, this is my take, would say that Europe, as compared to the other places, Europe is much better. Europe, the leaders are much more mature. They think about the world. This is my personal take. Okay, so AI, artificial intelligence. People are worried. Maybe after 100 years, 200 years later, the world may be governed by the AI, artificial intelligence. Then we will become the slave of it. Naturally, actually, it's not governed by the AI. Governed by few brilliant people who are bought by the business people. And the politicians are bought by politicians are working because of the money of the business people. Finally, some big tycoons, business tycoons, they will govern the world. Because all these brilliant people will work with the money moved by the business tycoons. And the politicians, same. So what this AI they are operating, these few brilliant people, they know how this AI is operating. And we the people, okay, we take one step outside, and the Paris government, they all know which foot you put first. They all know exactly everything. And then most likely, what your thought process is going, they will also know exactly. And then everything will be so controlled. And you don't know this controlled because you don't have the capacity to know the sophistication of how the control is happening on you. And actually you're very controlled. So who's controlling? We say that the machines know. No, machines don't know. Machines are purely mechanical. They don't know anything. Machines operate how they are designed. Who designed them? Very sophisticated way? Brilliant people, they design. Brilliant people, they are so less in number. If the brilliant people in this world, the number is huge, AI cannot control the world. Because other brilliant people know exactly what you are trying to do. What these AI they are trying to do, they are doing is actually nothing but a manifestation of few handful of the brilliant people, what they are doing. And brilliant people, they are dictated by the money. The business people. So this is how. So therefore the point is that these sophisticated AI, sophisticated AI, they are operated by the brilliant people. What is the difference between the AI and the brilliant people? Brilliant people have the mind. AI do not have the mind. In other words, to make it very simple, say a laptop. Who is more smart? Your laptop is smarter or your brain is smarter? Generally speaking. Generally speaking, huh? Your laptop is smarter? Okay. Your laptop is smarter or your brain is smarter? You want to know something? What do? You will ask your brain or you will ask your mind or you check the Google. You check the Google, which means that the laptop is more smarter. And to do a little calculation, again you go to the computer, the laptop. You don't do it mentally. You're getting it? So your laptop is smarter. But one thing which the laptop is missing, which you have, is your mind. Your laptop needs somebody to operate on this. You don't need to operate on. Okay, now morning it is 5:45, right? Then somebody comes to press you, right? And then you start operating. You don't need that, right? There's a self-operation there because the brain is purely mechanical. Self-operation is that this is intention. Intention, that is something which is missing in the AI. Intention. That intention is the one which makes the difference between the human beings and the AI. Okay, then maybe one point that I may further share with you is about the child prodigy. This is a very important point. Child prodigy. Child prodigy, intelligent. Child prodigy. For example, Mozart, as a young child, such a brilliant music composer. If you track his, okay, for somebody to have such a brilliant skill, okay, not from the past life, it's from the past generations. You're getting it? Charles Darwin talks about the past generation. The Buddha talks about generation and the past lives, both. Charles Darwin talks about only the past generation. It's because of the past. Because he looks very nice, because his parents are very nice. He's very decent because his parents are very decent. Right? It's genetic. It's genetic. This is the generation, not the past life. Then what about the child prodigy? This child prodigy, the child genius. If you track the family tree, if you track the family tree back in time, you will never see a prodigy in the past generations. Never. And finally we end up in the Stone Age and the early men. In the early men, forget about the music. They even don't know how to cook food. Right? This is if you track the genetic back, nobody in your the genetic line, you see that somebody had the skill of the music, the way the Mozart has, which he acquired. Right? So from this we see the way that, for example, for us to acquire skill in music, if you know music pretty well, somebody will ask you, when did you learn this? Where did you learn this? You're getting it? Which means that when did you practice it before? To have that skill, you should have practiced it before. For somebody like the Mozart, when did he practice it? Not in this life. And genetics, no clue. Early genetics, no clue. So when did he learn this? For us, without learning, it's impossible. Impossible for us to acquire that skill of the music unless we practice it. And if you know how to play music, people ask you, when did you learn it? Where did you learn it? Which means that when did you practice it? So when did he practice it? This is past life, not the genetics. Genetics we can go easy. 0.3 million years human beings started. 0.3 million years human beings started. Before that, like 15 billion years, no human beings. No music. Okay. But you good. So with this, with these information, then if you go back to Acharya Dharmakirti's text about the mental consciousness, which we have the first-hand experience, which the neuroscientists do not have the experience. So this mental consciousness, that is something which does not have the beginning, which does not have the end. So this mental consciousness, the first moment of conception of mother's womb, before that, that was your past life. At the death of the individual, this last moment of mental continuum of mental consciousness of this life, the next moment is your next birth. So, if you consider these things, particularly in the context of the modern neuroscience, if you consider these areas, and then on that basis we think about the workings of the mind, then you go back to Acharya Dharmakirti's text. It's brilliant. Okay, then the rebirth is not that difficult. Okay, for that matter, all these information must be there. But particularly the neuroscience information must be there. Okay. And then a lighter mode. A light mode. I was in Nigeria. I think about like 2007, 8. How many years ago? 12 years ago. Like 12 years ago, I was in Nigeria, and then I was with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and then I had to go to airport a few hours in advance with the passports and all the travel documents and so forth. So, from the airport, I was being escorted by one policeman, Nigerian policeman, to the airport to escort me. Well, it is about like 1 hour, 1.5 hours to the airport. So the policeman, because we had 1.5 hours free in the same car, he asked, okay, tell me about Buddhism. So I started sharing about Buddhism. Okay, how to free yourself, fearlessness, enlightenment, and so forth. He was least interested. Finally, somehow the topic diverted to the rebirth. The moment I talk about rebirth, he said, tell me again. This is very interesting. I said, why? Why this is interesting? Then he said that in Nigeria, this is what he said. In Nigeria is predominantly Nigeria is predominantly Muslims and Christians. And in holy books of these two religions, you will never find one phenomenon. That in some villages you come across very small children talking about their past lives. This is not my house. My house is in this village, that village. He was telling me, not me. This is not my house. Very young children, age 3, age 4. This is not my house. My house is in that village. And I have 2 brothers, 1 brother, 2 sisters, 1 sister, 1 father, 1 mother, like this. Explaining the village, families, and everything. Then, what is this? According to our holy books, there is no mention of such past life. You are born on this earth, but the first time you come on this earth, that's it. You die, final judgment. Right? You don't go to the next birth. So that person who died, also the final judgment. You have to wait till final judgment. But then these boys, girls, they are coming up in the villages. They are talking about their past lives. Right? And then when they take these children to the villages that they mentioned, they take them there, they can identify exactly the family, the parents, the children, the family members, everything exactly they could identify them. So he said, what is this? What is this phenomenon? There's no way you find mentioned in the holy books. But this is happening. This is undeniably what we can witness. This is what he said. The Nigerian policeman in Nigeria, not in Dharamsala. In Nigeria, this is what he told me. Okay. So there's another anecdote which is very interesting, just to share with you. Very interesting anecdote. There was a young girl, and a real anecdote. Young girl, age 3, 4. She was playing with her cousin who was older, like 16 years old. Two of them were playing just outside. And suddenly this young girl, aged 3 or 4, she told her cousin that I have a wife. She's a girl. This young girl said, I have a wife and I have 6 children. The elder girl was shocked. Don't you feel ashamed? You're a girl. How come that you have a wife? She said, yes, I have a wife. I have 6 children. She was very strong. She's so assertive, this girl. Then the elder girl was shocked. She was so scared. She went in to tell the parents of this girl that she's saying like this. And the parents picked up the girl and then told her, tell me, how many children you have? Then she said, I have 5 children. Earlier she said, I have 6 children. Now she said, I have 5. And where's your house? Where's your wife? She said that in camp number, I'm not going to mention the camp number, or in the village. The village, if I tell you this, people listen to this recording, they will identify that place. Okay, so mention the place. Okay, let's say the camp number 7. My family, my wife and my children, they are in camp number 7. Camp number 7 was very near to where she was born. Very near. Instantly, the family checked the main office, who is administering all the 9 camps. Main office to see if there is the family there in camp number 7 where the husband died and a mother with 5 children. They checked it and they found. So now this girl, why initially she said 6 children and now she is saying 5 children was because this wife had 2 husbands. From the first husband, she had 1 child. From the second husband, who was born as this young girl, 5 children. So first time when she said, it was just vaguely 6, total 6. And later, asked more precisely, she said that her own children, 5 children. This is again a real thing. Now, then she once identified, then the family was so happy to see that the house father was born there. And the date, all these things, exact, perfect. Date, no problem. And so that family accepted this young little girl as the family. So now she's already in her 20s. Still the family, they're very good relationship. It's like she has now 2 families. Okay, so these things are there. So this is from this, and okay, more importantly is your own personal experience. This is so important. Your personal experiences. And then for that, if you really want to understand it more convincingly, it's not easy in the first place. Convincingly, then the mental consciousness that we experience, this mental consciousness, one should be able to learn about how this mental consciousness operates. And what are the classifications of mental consciousness? Mental consciousness, when it can be very gross, it can be very subtle. As the mental consciousness is gross, it is heavily dependent on the brain and the body. As this mental consciousness becomes subtler, it becomes more and more independent of the physical body. You're getting it? Thus far, what the neuroscientists they are talking about is the gross mind, gross mental consciousness. Because it's very gross, it's heavily dependent on the brain. So you can look at the brain correlate. Whereas as the mind becomes subtler, it becomes more independent of the brain. Don't forget it. So this mind, which has that capacity, when gross dependent on the brain, when it becomes subtler, it becomes more independent of the brain. That as it becomes independent, more and more independent of the brain, then as it becomes more subtle, it becomes more and more independent of the brain. So that mind is the one which transmigrates to the next life. That mind, as we die, the mind becomes independent of the brain, more and more independent. As it becomes more and more independent, even all these processes, how the mind becomes subtler at the time of death, all these things are very clearly indicated in the text. And through practice, you can actually experience those subtle moments of the mind as the mind becomes more. And then, on some occasions, to some extent, you can also feel that in mind, as it becomes subtler, it can become more independent of the body. You can easily manipulate these experiences. You can feel. Okay. So from this, you will realize that the rebirth is also obvious with these reasonings. Rebirth is so obvious. So why not be prepared for the next birth? If we don't prepare this, it is very unfortunate. Then we become like a small child. Oh, Mom, I don't want to go to school. I want to play in the playground. And then the child cannot see what is after 5 years, what is 10 years. We become like a small child, could not see, or not ready to think about the plan for the future. But the mother, seeing the future, mother would make sure that the child goes to school. So therefore, a wise person will think about the rebirth, and then on that basis, they will make plans to make sure that next birth, you are much better than what you are today. Okay, this is a part of the what? Remembering all beings as one's mothers. If this is the case, then just as the body meaning the atoms never cease, never annihilate, the mind also never annihilates. If the mind never annihilates, then your mind, the previous mind, there was a mother. The previous mind, there was a mother. Previous mind, there was a mother. And you can go ad infinitum. You have innumerable mothers. Where are all these mothers? None other than people around you, insects around you, the animals around you. These are the mothers. And in terms of time was innumerable, and the number of beings innumerable. So, from there we realize that each and every being, they have been my mothers innumerable times in the past. This is the meaning of remembering all beings as having been one's mothers. Number one. Okay, what is number two? Remembering their kindness. Okay. Once we and this, don't expect that, just think about it, and then today you will get it, and then next day you move to the second. No, don't do like this. Okay, you think to the best you can. Think about it, and then move to the second. Don't spend too much time on this in one go, in one day. And then you move to the second step. Remember all beings as one's mothers. Okay, for that matter, think about the mother of this life. Start from the mother of this life. Remember their kindness. Remember the kindness. Okay, so let's say, and these, for this matter, remember the kindness of the mothers. For this matter, what is important is that whatever life experience that you have seen, you have experienced, you have heard, you have read, make sure that these are brought into this meditation. So for the Bodhicitta meditation, you can be as creative. For the wisdom of emptiness meditation, don't be too creative. I mentioned this earlier. Don't forget it. Okay, I personally, so if you ask me, some people ask me, oh, Geshe, you travel a lot to many places. Which is the best place? Which is the best food? They ask this question, and this is most boring questions to me. Which is the best place? Which is the best food? This is the most boring questions to me. If you ask me, what is the favorite thing? Tell me one favorite thing. There may be some favorites. Tell me one favorite thing. I would say one favorite thing is to just observe the mother and the young tender child's relationship. This is my favorite. I can spend like hours and hours observing the mother and the young tender child. Okay, the Dominic and the Venerable Quinchana when he was 5 years old. Not now. When he was 5 years old, Dominic and Isabel when she was 6 years old, 5 years old. That relationship, that the moment I got sight of this, I can spend hours and hours. Just observe this beautiful relationship. So beautiful. Mother is ready to sacrifice everything. The child, 2 years, 1 year old, hardly can walk, hardly can identify your smile. But the mother smiles at you. The mother talks to you. She or he does not know what is being done. But the mother is talking to you. Nobody in this world, maybe except for your parents, 2 parents, and some of your family members, nobody in this world, they know your existence. But for the mother, you are the whole world. You are the whole world. This is the amount of love that we have received. Remembering the kindness of your mothers. This is so important. We do love our mothers. Only thing is that we take for granted. We don't think about it. The moment we think about this, automatically this love and affection, intense love and affection, will come on the surface. When it comes to the surface, your body language towards your mother is very different. It's going to be very different. And how you speak is going to be very different. And there's going to be, the moment somebody looks at, like say 30 years old person, meeting with his or her mother, you watch it, it's so beautiful. At the moment, it's not so beautiful. Like 20 years old daughter and their son meeting with the mother, just take for granted the mother. Right? But when you are age 4, 5, 6, you and mother, you will not take for granted, right? The love is so beautiful because you are so vulnerable. You are so vulnerable, and this is the person who is there to protect you. Because of this, you could feel it so evidently, so manifestly. So likewise, you reciprocate this love and affection towards your mother. But now, after age 16, 17, 18, you become more self-sufficient. What the mother says something, what the outsider says, you listen with a smile. The moment your mother says something, what? That's what, something is wrong. Whatever your mother says is wrong, whatever the outsider says is nice. Right? Okay, this is where it's not that you are bad. Only thing is we are not thinking about. Okay, I will share one anecdote with you. We did a course. It was the Emory University Study Abroad program. Nowadays, I don't think this program is happening, but for some years, for about like 10, 12 years, this program happened in Dharamsala. They bring their students from America to Dharamsala. And I think which year was that? The second year of their program, they requested me to teach the philosophy to the students. Second year. I think it was this, the second year. No, the second year for me, it was the first year. First year teaching them. Just after coming from Cambridge. From Cambridge, then they went to India, and then they requested me to teach. Okay, so the program was for 1 semester, 3 months, and additional 2 months for them to do the independent the research. And after the independent research, they were to leave for America. So most of the students, they came to see me in my room, just to say that now we are leaving. And then one of them told me that there's one girl who was going to leave 1 week in advance. And I said, why? Because her mother is suffering from cancer, so she has to go. But 2 of them are not going along well. So the next day, this girl came and said, Gyanla, I have to leave 1 week in advance. I said, okay. And then she said, but I don't want to go. I said, why? She said, because my mother and me, 2 of us, we don't go along well. We're not on good terms. Then I said, okay, fine. Okay, sit down, take a seat. And then I told her that I don't know who your mother is, but I know who you are. I know you for the last 5 months. I know you so well. And from identifying who you are, I can identify your mother. Although I've never met your mother. That your mother, no doubt, she has given the maximum love and affection to you when you were Yeah. When you needed her love and affection the most, she has given that. She did not miss that. The fact that you are such a young, energetic, strong girl, very educated, is a proof that your mother did not neglect you. You are a very happy girl. It's a proof that your mother did not neglect you when you needed the mother. Now the mother needed you. The mother needs you now. And you fail in your duty. The mother did not fail in her duty. And your mother did not learn about Bodhicitta. You already learned about Bodhicitta. You already learned about emptiness. Now it is you who should be able to think of, okay, now she did her duty, and I'm yet to do my duty. It is my failure. Now I have to give back love and affection to her. I never did it. I was always complaining that she's not being like this, still I'm expecting love and affection from her. This is totally wrong. Now she should be expecting love and affection from you, instead of you expecting from her. Then gradually she started to cry. She cried and she said, yes, now I realize it is my mistake. I realize. And she's really crying profusely. She's crying. And then she said, but even if I go there, yes, now I realize. Then now it is my time to give, to pay back the love and affection that I received from her, to pay back for that. But my mother would not accept me. She would not accept me. Then I said, wonderful, now your job is also done. You have realized that now it is your time to give back the love and affection to your mother. You realize that. That realization is so precious. Now this is your job, you've done it. The rest, I can help you. I told her, no need to go in advance. Just write an email to your mother. Because if you go there, you are mentally changed. You already changed. You could feel the love and affection of mother. You go there, but the mother will not see the change in you. Mother will think that you are the same girl. Again complaining. Again she will reject you. The moment she rejects you, your anger will come back. So therefore, don't write to her. No, don't go back. Don't go there. First, write an email. Send an email. In the email, what you write is just acknowledge the enormous amount of love that you received from your mother. All these many years, enumerate all these in detail. And then acknowledge your mistake. That now I have failed to do my duty to give you back the love and affection that I received from you. I failed in my duty and now I regret. You must specify this very clearly. And then you tell her how much now I love you. Tell her. Send this email. And your mother, seeing the email, at first she may not be eager to read it. But the email and the person is very different. The person, she will react. The moment she reacts, your anger will come out. But the email, she will not react. And email will not react also. Email, okay, let's see what she wrote. Again, some complaint for sure. She will read it. At least she will read it. But you will not get the chance to speak. Before you speak, she will see something wrong in you. Again, she will reject. The moment she rejects, you will not get the chance to speak. So anger will come out, finish. Email, at least she will read. And then wait for the answer. In 3 days, just imagine, she said that it took her 3 days to write one email. Then she sent. Within just 1 or 2 days' time, she got a reply. She came to me with such a joy. She said that now my mother's already accepted me. Now look, she went to America. She flew back to America with such a joy. And the mother was so happily expecting the daughter. Otherwise earlier, yes, now my daughter's coming. Again she will create a problem on me. Again we'll be having fight. I've already have a cancer. I'm dying of cancer. And she will be least concerned about me. This kind of agitation, she will die more quickly. Now it was a magic. Now the daughter was going there with such a joy, anticipating, looking forward to see the mother. And the mother was looking forward to see the daughter. And then, believe it or not, she nursed the mother till her last day. The daughter nursed the mother so affectionately, so lovingly. Imagine the state of the mother's mind. This is the greatest gift that this girl could give to her mother before she left the world. Believe it or not. And all these students, they had to write the dissertation for them, the one semester program. And the dissertation she wrote on wrote a commentary on R.N. Nagarjuna's The Precious Garland, the text. And she sent me her commentary. And in the dedication of her work, she wrote so beautifully, it's so touching. Believe it or not, do you think that she will write this dedication had it been the case that her anger towards the mother remained the same? What dedication she wrote? She said that this dissertation is dedicated to my mother. And then in the note, she was as though like talking to the mother. Mother, I'm so fortunate that I'm born as your child, that you are my mother. You are the most beautiful mother on this earth for me. And never mind, we are separated, but we will travel to enlightenment together. We'll travel to enlightenment together. I will forever remember you. And we will both of us will travel together always throughout our future lifetimes to enlightenment. This is what she wrote. Okay, this is so precious, so precious. We all have that capacity to express this beautiful mind. Imagine that the daughter with a mother, a nursing mother, and so much anger towards each other. Mother's life will be shortened. And now, so much of love. The daughter feels such honor that I'm getting an opportunity to serve the mother. And the mother feels so happy the moment she wakes up. Oh, my daughter's there. She just anticipates to see the face of the daughter. And with this, no doubt, her immune system will be improved. And she will have a longer life. This is how the mother and daughter live so happily in the last days of the mother. The last days of mother. Both of them live so happily. It's amazingly beautiful. So therefore, it's just a matter. If you don't think about this, then automatically the anger arises. The moment we think about the kindness that you have received, just imagine. Okay, my favorite thing, I told you, my favorite thing is just to watch the relationship with the mother and the mother and the child, young tender child. How much the love the child receives from the mother. Just observe it. And I could imagine that I don't remember too well. I don't remember too well how much love that I received from my mother, because I lost my mother when I was 5. And the memory that I have of my mother was some, snapshots. Some snapshots. Not the hugging, cuddling, and then the mother talking to me. None of this I could remember. But when I see others, what is happening? How the mothers take care of the children. How the children, they are being so loved by the mother. When I see this, I could then extrapolate the same. My mother must have done the same thing to me also. From this, my Bodhicitta practice begins like this. I don't have the living experience. But many of you still have your mothers. Raise your hands, those who still have your mothers. Raise your hands. Most of you have. You are so lucky. Those of you who still have your mother. Okay, raise your hands, those who have your mother. At least till you are 20. Raise your hands. Till you are 20, you still have had your mother. At least till when you were 20. Raise your hands. Or those who lost their mother before you were 10, raise your hands. Those who lost their mother before you were 10. Amina, you lost your mother what age? Oh, 2 of us same. Okay, never mind. 2 of us same. Otherwise, most of you have them. You are so lucky. Okay. Now, those who still have your mother today, you are the luckiest. You are the luckiest. What I tell people is that today, if somebody comes to whom I can tell him that, please let me have my mother. Let me have my mother for one day. Let me have my mother for one day. Let me have my mother for at least 1 hour. And whatever I have, I'll give you. Whatever I have, I'll give you. Whatever belongings that I have, possessions that I have, I'll give you. Let me have my mother just for 1 day or 1 hour with me. If my mother's there, the first thing that, believe it or not, when I lost my father when I was 33 or 34. When I lost my father was very lucky. Very lucky. All the 3 siblings, me, my brother, my sister, 3 of us, we were all together nursing him. And the 2 of us, we were all working together. He was just very lucky. Till his last days, he was so lucky. And then I was traveling. The last about 1 week. And I was traveling with His Holiness. And then when I was in Delhi, that was in Dharamsala. When I was in Delhi, I heard that my father passed away. Just imagine what was my first reaction. The moment I heard that I lost my father, what was my first reaction? The loss of my father? No. The first reaction was, how I wish that I had the honor of serving my mother in the same way we had the honor to serve our father in our last days. This was the first reaction that came to my mind, spontaneous reaction that came to my mind. So those of you who still have your mother, you are very lucky. You are very lucky. Don't think that this moment, is always. No, don't think like this. You are so lucky. That moment is more precious than gold, diamond, silver. That moment together with your parents is so precious. Just try to make them as happy as possible. People like us who lost a mother at such a young age. Now, the only anticipation that we have is, if I get the opportunity to serve my mother, I'll be so happy. 1 hour with my mother, I'll make her so happy. 1 day with my mother, I'll make her so happy. And you have your mother. You're so fortunate. You're so fortunate. And the time together with you love your mother, no doubt. The only thing is that we are not thinking about it. We take it for granted. Because of this love, very solid love, it was just going down all the time. Going down. And on the surface, the superficial differences come. When you think about it, it will come on the surface. And then you see whatever your mother does is so beautiful. The fact that your mother's alive, even that is so fortunate. That even that, I'm so lucky, so fortunate. Right? This is reality. So why not? We all, those who still have your mother and father with you, why not you make the most of this opportunity to make sure that you serve your mother. Don't let the mother serve you. Serve your mother. Make her happy. Whatever things make her happy, make her happy. This is great opportunity. Okay, we'll stop here. Om gati gati paragati arasam gati bodhiswatyata. Om gati gati paragati Samgati bodhiswatyata. Om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhiswatyata. Om gati gati paragati parasamgati bodhiswaha. And direction prayer, page 284. Page 284. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness good. All-powerful Chenri Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just a brave magician will summon about the two Rihanna's things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits that I might follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praise as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva stage. Chanjo semjo rembo chen ma ge ba nam ge gyo chen ge ba nya ba na ba ya kon e kon do pe ba sho. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arisen and rising grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long space remains, as long sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. To the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of the Guru Buddha, and lead all beings without exception into their enlightened state. I dedicate the merit that gathered twice of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of the Dharma of teaching and realization. May I know all life through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, Bodhicitta, pursuit in the 2 stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate a full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the breath of Buddha in my heart. A power of union that empties of compassion is loosely explained by the protected Buddha, Dharma, and the beings which know them. Tenzin Gyatso, we supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces, humans or non-humans, will help our medicine through perverted prayers against the teachings of Buddhas, be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of 3 jewels. In all my life, never separate from perfect gurus, enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing qualities of stations in the paths, may I could attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of the dependent originals in particular, even in personal life. Okay, questions.